It's good evening and welcome to the Evening Rush. This is where Nigeria's finest conversation takes place every evening. Here we get to dissect topical conversations that Nigerians need to know every day. So it's not like it's every single story that has been making the round all day, but those that are very important to your well-being overall, right? That's what we look at. I just say, you say, okay, I saw this news. So you don't say, I heard this news trending the other day, but you did not raise it well. We'll look at stories that affects you the most because we are voice of the people. So we're here to represent your voice. My name is Precious A. Welcome to the show. This show is produced by Promise. Let's get started with a hot topic so far before we delve right into the crux of the matter that, we shall be discussing today. I did tell you yesterday that I'm expecting a U.S. congressman to join me in this conversation today, hopefully. And then we'll get to look at a lot of things, especially looking at how democracy is practiced in the United States, where we borrow that kind of democracy from, and things, the way the opportunities that democracy has availed the citizens of the United States vis-a-vis those opportunities in Nigeria. We'll get to talk about quite a lot of things, but you know what, Lagos, let me bring you up to speed with the hot topics very quickly, and then we'll delve into that. Stay with us, and thank you for joining us. All right, Lagos, on the hot topic this evening: minimum wage, Nigerian government, labor, private sector resume talks. Interesting. I like the fact that the private sector is part of this negotiation this time, so that they too can put their mouth and talk about what they can pay by themselves. All right, moving on. So we also did hear that minimum wage talks. Labour considers 100,000 naira as Tinubu issues ultimatum. Is that correct? Well, we'll get to hear depending on what the outcome of that meeting would be today. And then Nigerian government silence over electricity hike reversal disappointing. NLC is saying so. You do remember that one of the requests of NLC is the fact that the Nigerian government should reverse the Band A electricity tariff that was increased by 330%. But we do hope that the government will eventually do that, because Labour is complaining that the government's silence over that is very disappointing. But we'll move on to other issues. Nigerian government admits fuel subsidy to go up 5.4 trillion naira in 2024. So finally, we're here. We now can tell how much we will be paying for fuel subsidy, or we are even paying already for fuel subsidy. The same fuel subsidy that is making us suffer, the suffer that we're suffering. So after all, is back. Oh wow, and back like it never even left, because as at 2023 we got about 3.6 trillion naira on subsidy. As at 2020 it was about 2 trillion naira, but guess what, this year 5.4 trillion naira. That means El Rufai was right after all, right, when he said that Nigerian government is paying more now on subsidy than they ever did pay before. Wow, you could say the truth is out finally. But let's move on to other issues. We're not thinking of merger with any political party. PDP says so. Reps attack NLC TUC for circulating fake lawmakers' pay. This may be the focus of our conversation today with the Honorable Congress member. Kaduna Assembly recommends El Rufai's prosecution for abuse of office, money laundering. We'll look into this issue too. Standardized lyrics of reintroduced national anthem release. So the National Orientation Agency eventually released the standardized lyrics of your new national anthem. So you better go and look for it and start. I may have to read it out to you, verse by verse, stanza by stanza. I will not sing. Don't tell me to sing. It's read, I'll read it. Okay, all the people yibbing me, well done. I'll disappoint you. Okay, so let's go on to other issues very, very quickly. All right, still on this conversation. Law. Okay. All right. So Lagos, these are the hot topics that we'll be paying attention to. But you know what? As usual, let's quickly take a breather. We'll be right back as we begin to dissect these and other conversations after the break. Stay with us. This is 90.3 Voice of the People FM. You're welcome.
From the views on the streets,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city. The loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and pressure for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things and makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Listen to hot critical analysis and top trending topics of the day. Join Precious, Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on The Evening Rush.
Alright, Nigeria, you are welcome back. It is exactly 7 p.m. right here in our studio, 90.3 Voice of the People FM Lagos. So in case you're just joining us, let me quickly run you through the hot topics that I may not be able to break down because I have someone waiting to join me in the conversation tonight. I did tell you that minimum wage, Nigerian government, labor, private sector resume talks. I'll let you in on the outcome of that talk when details of that emerge. Minimum wage talks, Labour considers 100,000 naira sustainable issues ultimatum. Will 100,000 suffice? Well, even as NLC feels disappointed over Nigerian government silence over electricity hike reversal. So with the paying 330,000, increasing the electricity tariff by 330% and paying 100,000 naira for electricity tariff. How would a standard family cope in Nigeria if you are paid 100,000 minimum wage? Well, Nigerian government admits fuel subsidy to GABE 5.4 trillion naira in 2024. So finally, here we are. 2024, we're spending more than we've ever spent in fuel subsidy. 5.4 trillion naira. Well, I did a breakdown of this conversation hurriedly though, because I couldn't really do that totally on my YouTube page at Precious Enye TV. You could go check that out because we don't have time to do that. But then let's move on to other issues. That's Precious Enye TV. So to other issues this evening, we're not thinking of merger with any political party. PDP is saying so. So for those who think they may be merging, call it work. This back and forth, right? It's quite interesting. And then Reps attack NLC, TUC for circulating fake lawmakers' pay. And then we also have the story about Kaduna Assembly recommending El-Rufai's prosecution for abuse of office, money laundering. Interesting, isn't it? I did tell you that the standardized lyrics of your national anthem, a new reintroduced national anthem, is out. So you could go look it up so that you'll not be chewing your mouth when they are singing it. All right. So let's get to the conversation of the day very, very quickly, as I have someone waiting to join me on the conversation. So I have joining me virtually the Honorable GABE OKEYE. He's a licensed civil engineer who specializes in wastewater treatment plant design. He owns 2 small businesses, an engineering company and a private home care company. He's also a very married man with 4 children and hails from Nigeria. I won't tell you the name of one of his kids. He's a passionate public servant. Honorable OKEYE got involved in American politics during Obama era and was recently elected in the Georgia House of Representatives. All right. Where he represents the 102nd district, most of Lawrenceville. Prior to his election to Georgia House, Honorable OKEYE held many leadership positions in Gwinnett County, Georgia politics. He blazed many trails for fellow African immigrants when he was elected chairman of Gwinnett County Democratic Party. He made history as the first African immigrant to be elected country party chairman in Georgia. He is credited with turning Gwyneth's country from red to blue. Honorable Okoye, red to blue, you should tell now. Republican to Democrat. You should use your tongue and count your teeth. Don't ask me, He would explain all of that. So Honorable Okoye was also the first black person to serve on the Municipal Planning Commission in Gwinnett County, Georgia. He was also the first African to be elected to the Executive Committee of the Democratic Party of Georgia, where he rose to serve as a vice chairman of the 7th Congressional District of Georgia. Prior to his venturing into American politics, Honorable Okoye served the Nigerian community in different capacities that I may not be able to mention now. Thank you so much for joining us, Honorable Okoye. Thank you so immensely for joining my conversation this evening. Good evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I like the twinkle in your eyes and the smile on your lips, and something tells me this is going to be a very interesting conversation.
Well, if you ever see me without a smile, call the police.
Did you hear the part I said I won't tell them the name of one of your child or one of your children? Don't. Let's not talk about that.
Okay, I'm never going to tell them that it's precious.
Oh, don't say that. You see, just spilled. You just spilled.
No, I said
you promised you were not going to.
I said I was never going to tell them that it's precious. I still haven't told them.
You still didn't tell them, but it's precious.
Yes.
It's okay. It's just like my mommy telling me to tell the guest that she's not around, and I go to tell the guest. My mommy said I should tell you that she's not around. It's interesting. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us. So there's a particular conversation that is trending today that is very, very important to me. And I would beg your indulgence to please let me kindly read it out, and then I would pick up this conversation from there, if you would oblige me.
Please do.
All right. So today, the House of Representatives in Nigeria has attacked organized labor, comprising the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress, for feeding the public about what it described as fake earnings of its members. So it said that the attempt was made to stoke public treatment, or public resentment rather, against the lawmakers and undermine the credibility of the legislature. So it warned that such acts could stoke public resentment against lawmakers and undermine the legislature's credibility, calling for the actors sabotaging the nation's economy to be brought to justice. Now, the House made this known in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Akin Rotimi, today, Tuesday. In fact, they said a lot, but let me just keep reading further. So the statement said the House of Representatives acknowledges the recent industrial action undertaken by the NLC and the TUC due to the breakdown in negotiations for the new national minimum wage. Now, the People's House is pleased to note that the strike action has been suspended for 1 week to allow for further negotiation. Now, during this period, as we have previously demonstrated, the People's House remains responsive and committed to actively engaging all stakeholders to resolve the issues in the interest of Nigerians. But House Speaker Abbas Tajuddin has consistently advocated a living wage and better working conditions for workers. So at various fora, he has emphasized the importance of addressing key national priorities that went on and on. Now, they said while the Green Chamber is in full support of the call for improved wages and working conditions, there is a great need to exercise caution in increasing the minimum wage beyond what our economy can sustain to avoid unintended outcomes such as inflation, layoffs, and other adverse economic consequences. Thus, we state the importance of approaching this issue from a balanced perspective to ensure long-term stability and prosperity for all. In this vein, we observed with concern the direction of the strike action before the suspension and what it portends to for the future. So importantly, the shutdown of critical infrastructure, of course, was a major concern during the strike action. It stated quite a lot of things, and most importantly, it frowned at the fact that the organized labor campaigned or perhaps exposed what they said was the salary or the income of National Assembly members, which did not go down well with the House. So, quoting this letter further, it says, is the objective of the leadership of the union to compel the government to implement a living wage or to inflict, let me take that again. So, quoting them, it says, it is necessary, therefore, to state that while industrial actions are decent and fundamental rights within a democratic space, that must be protected. The manner in which Labour conducted itself during the just suspended strike largely shows a lack of empathy for Nigerians. So, he now says, is the objective of the leadership of the unions to compel the government to implement a living wage or to inflict pain on Nigerians? Additionally, it is important to address persistent misinformation and disinformation propagated by organized labor. By the organized leadership regarding the earnings of lawmakers. This is especially because organized labor has, for years, contributed to false narratives about the remuneration of members of the National Assembly, exaggerating figures to stoke public resentment and undermine the credibility of the legislature. They frowned at it in its entirety. So, Honorable Gab, if I'm correct, if that's the let me say Honorable OKEYE, let me stick to that because I'm not sure if it's Gab. I would rather you correct me, please.
It's GABE.
Oh, GABE, thank you, I appreciate you. Right.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into the conversation. The reason why this conversation becomes very important to us in Nigeria is because we pride ourselves as borrowing the kind of democracy the United States practice, right? And I'd like to know, as a Congress member in the United States, or as a president or an executive member, either for the state or the federal level, may I know if your wages, that is your income, is in the open or still subtly shrouded in secrecy to the citizens?
Right. Thanks for that great question. Everything here is in the open.
Really?
Even if we want to find out the president's salary, Google up the annual salary of the American president. You should see that for yourself. It's around about $400,000. So everything is in the open. Period. The fact that you maintain secrecy in certain ways lend itself to writing such letter as the National Assembly has written, because their salary is not in the open. If it was in the open, then everybody would be able to see if Labor or whoever was lying. Now, even in the letter, they have gone through pains not to state their salary.
I was going to say that. You just took it out of my mouth. You just took that off my mouth. How did you know they didn't state it? How did you know they didn't state it anyway? Because I didn't finish the letter.
Oh, I didn't know you didn't finish.
I didn't finish.
I went from the part I heard.
Okay.
And from the part I heard, I think that letter was going to finish without that salary being stated.
It's actually finished without that salary being stated.
All right.
Okay. So our question is, in the past, there's been quite a couple of figures, just like they stated in that letter, making the round about what the earnings of the National Assembly would be, as it were. And most times, those figures are now refuted by members of the National Assembly. But I do remember one occasion when a particular senator, Senator Shehu Sani, said that he almost got into trouble for revealing how much he earns as a senator. So again, I ask, how is it that your earnings can be in the open as a U.S. congressman or a senator, or at least as a serving public servant of the United States, and it looks a bit impossible for us to do the same? Could you oblige me? What are those laws that makes it compulsory for you to, or for your earnings to be made open to the public? Let's even start from there.
Now, first of all, I do serve in the Georgia House of Representatives.
Okay.
And that's where I serve.
Okay.
And second of all, you did say that Nigeria copied its system, her system, from the American system.
That's what they say.
Well, they may have copied democracy from America, but if you check the spelling, something may be wrong. So they may have copied one thing, misspelled it, and they're practicing what the new spelling is. Democracy is one thing, and democracy is another thing. So let me put it that way. And then I want to say that, frankly, in this country, when you are in public service, you are truly a public servant, and there's not much money to be made in public service in this country. You actually might put your money into it when you are serving here, which is why it's purely public service. In Nigeria, there's so much money in it, that's why people kill each other to get into it, because it's a money maker. That's a big difference.
Okay. Oh wow, interesting. All right, so I may have to let you know that Nigerians may be calling into jumping in the conversation, perhaps ask a couple of questions to you. I hope you don't mind, just to let you know that people are listening and I'll be calling in to ask some questions. So let's get back to this salary issue. May I understand how much the salaries or the income of different of your national assembly members now, your senators and your congressmen would be, both on the federal and state levels?
They're right about $180,000.
Okay,
That's
monthly
it.
or annually?
Annually.
Annually.
And,
oh wow.
Yes, and there are no furniture allowance.
It's amazing how you took that off my mouth, because I was going to ask you if you have newspaper allowance and wardrobe allowance and other allowances.
You just have to spend the money and buy it. There's no allowances. There are no allowances for you. That's it. That's your salary. Okay. So I keep hearing so many allowances for our mass members. But that's fine if that's what the country wants. But that's not what obtains here. Here, you get paid, your annual salaries monthly, and that's it. That is why even the former president, Barack Obama, when he was a senator, he was living in the basement, sharing an apartment with some people. Most of all those people you see in Washington, D.C., senators and Congress people, they all find apartments. It may be a one-bedroom, some may be a studio apartment in a dilapidated area where it's cheap, because they maintain their home in their home state. And
are you saying they're not giving official apartments?
Official what?
They are honorable members. They are honorable members.
They are not even given unofficial apartment. Talk about official apartment.
Are you aware that for our House of Rep members, we spent 160 million naira this year buying each of them a vehicle that is that is worthy of our Nigerian roads to drive, and we're yet to know exactly how much we even spent for that of senators, because yes, is more.
I'm going to tell you about the former speaker. There's a young man, Paul. He would sleep in his office. That's where he slept. In DC.
You mean your former speaker, the speaker of your house?
The former speaker of the House of Representatives, would sleep in his office. he goes to the gym in the morning and takes a shower, puts on his suit, and he's ready to go to work.
He doesn't have police orderlies and PAs and SAs. That's alien. Because that's not what we're used to in this part of the world.
And that was why I told you there's a difference between democracy and democracy.
Now, this conversation is very important to me, and that's why I really would love your sincere and honest view, because we are voice of the people. We represent the interest of the people. So we are informing the people how things are done in other places, so they get to know, because some people may not have the opportunity to either read or research or even travel to other climes that practice the same democracy with us. So it's important that we give them accurate information so that they know what happens. And I mean, there is no better person to tell us this apart from you, who's living the experience yourself. So you're saying that your House members, senators, are not even giving a house as per house allowance. They don't have like a quotas where they stay, like we have legislative quotas. And they are not giving, but are they giving official cars at least?
No, you actually buy your own car.
So there is no paraphernalia of office.
Yeah, I'm not wearing one today. I put a pin over here that will tell you that I'm an office holder, but I'm not wearing one today. As far as other stuff goes, yeah, you have staff members who work for you, who are paid. You have that. But even at that, they are not allowed to be used as your servants. No, they can help out with your official business of the day. And when that is done, they go home to their families. And you go home to yours, if yours is anywhere close by. It's just the same thing, I was part of the National Conference of 2014.
Okay, you were part of the National Confab. You were a representative.
Yes, awesome. I represented Nigerians in diaspora.
Okay.
At the time, I was chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora organization for the 2 continents of America. So I was telling everybody the amount we were being paid, because I wasn't used to salaries being such a secret. Of course, my friends were telling me then to stop it, don't tell them, we're not supposed to. But I kept saying it because it's not what I was used to. But one thing that they did that I liked was everybody, you were on your own as far as accommodation is concerned. So somebody like me coming from Atlanta, I had to find a hotel, and that was my living quarters for that 6 months while I was there. So everybody made their own arrangement. That's the same thing that obtains here. You make your own arrangement. Period.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So let's get back to your minimum wage, or whatever, the standard wage for that country is. May I know exactly? I know that this may vary from state to state, right? But let's start from the state where you are. What's the minimum wage in the state where you are?
Well, for every state, the minimum wage varies. Here, it's about $7.25 minimum wage.
And that's per hour.
Per hour, yes. But guess what? Nobody pays that.
When you say $7.25, that's $7.25.
$7.25.
Okay, $7.25. Okay.
Yeah, but guess what? Nobody pays that. That's the official wage. What you get is no less than $10 per hour and up. Now, what we're trying to do is to make it officially $15 per hour. We're still proposing that legislation. Once it passes, that will be the official minimum wage. But let me chip in here.
Okay.
it's not really how much the minimum wage is. It is the buying power of the minimum. In Nigeria today, if you approve that 100,000
Naira.
Naira,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
tomorrow the cost of everything is going to triple, and that many people will be even worse than they are today. So the first thing to do is, before the wage, arrest the indiscriminate price increases that may be attendant to that situation. You arrest it first, and then that money will go a long way to bringing some people out of poverty. Because I don't understand how minimum wage will be 30,000, and then a bag of rice will be about 70,000.
80,000, please, sir. Let's not insult the 10,000 naira. Thank you, sir.
So does it make sense to anybody? Absolutely not. So minimum wage isn't just how much; it is also how much it can buy you.
So the reason I actually asked the question about the minimum wage is because I wanted to understand the salary disparity between you as a public office holder, a politician, and the public who are not into politics. That's why I asked that question. So I really like to understand, what would you say is the difference between your annual income and that of the ordinary American?
Okay, so let me say that the person who is paid the minimum wage can eat chicken just like I can buy rice just like I can go to the bar and have fun buying drinks for himself just like I can. So, in other words, everybody's living standard is carried along.
So
none is being trampled on. I may live in a better house because I get to pay a higher mortgage. They may live in a less flashy environment, but they can afford to live on their own. And sometimes when it is absolutely not impossible because of family size and family situation, the government will come in to help with so much money every month.
Oh, so when it's impossible for you to meet your, responsibilities, the government can come in to help?
Depending on the various situation there is.
Okay, could you help tell us what would be the difference in terms of percentage between what a political office holder's earnings would be and that of the ordinary citizen? The reason I'm asking this is because, like in Nigeria, we can't even equate it in terms of percentage. If perhaps the politicians' salaries are better, are about 300, 200 or 500% more than that of the citizens, we can't actually tell. But I really would like to know if it is something that is, practicable to tell in the United States.
Yeah, let me put it this way. In many instances, the politician loses money going into politics.
Oh, wow.
And many times when people are called to serve as ministers, right?
Yes, please.
They lose millions. For instance, there was a time the chairman of Exxon was a cabinet secretary. This is somebody who was making hundreds of millions a year. They're now taking a job that did not pay up to 200,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So it is a sacrifice to serve in this country. And also, in so many states, they say the pay of the legislators and they vary from state to state.
I understand.
And also, it is not a full-time job.
Oh, it is not?
In the state, at the state levels, it's not a full-time job. I think the maximum number of months any state legislature seats is 7 months.
Oh, wow. So you have like another 5 months to do you.
You don't get any break, because once you're in your district, your attention is needed everywhere, and you have to show up. You have to show up.
And these legislatures are actually accessible by their people, by the people whom they represent.
You call me on my phone, my cell phone. I answer it.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I give out my cell phone. I mean, there's a cell phone on my business card, on my political business card. And the other thing is, as you read earlier, I am an engineer. I still practice my engineering. I also have a home healthcare business. I still run it. So you have to make money to survive. The money you are paid being a politician is not enough to carry you and your family.
Oh, wow. Well, because in other parts of the world, like Africa, we've seen that politics is the fastest way to get rich in some parts of Africa. But let's quickly get to other conversations. So the reason I'm speaking about this issue of minimum wage, because of the response by the House of Representatives. For instance, if you look at the issue of minimum wage from back in the days, let's say from 2015 or 2014, when Jonathan increased the minimum wage to 18,000 naira, you realize that's 2014 at 18,000 naira. The dollar value of 18,000 naira then was about 100 and something thousand naira, about 100,000 naira plus. And at that time, you could at least buy, as much as 3-4 bags of rice with that money, and then you could at least feed your family with that money, with that 18,000. That is not up to 30,000 naira, right? And then you go to when the salary was increased to 30,000 naira, it was about $66, as it were, $67 at 2023. 2023. It was good at 2019, but 2023 became so bad that the value was only that $67. And at that time, before this administration in 2023, you could still buy a bag of rice or 35,000 naira or 30,000 naira. So that is to say that if you earned 30,000 naira, your salary would not be enough to buy a bag of rice. So maybe that's just the price of a bag of rice at that time. And of course, you know that a standard family should have staple food items like, us in Nigeria, our gari, our rice, and all those staple food items. But if we go to how much that is being proposed right now, or that we're hearing that the proposition would be at least 100,000 naira. Let's not even go to the 60,000, because if we talk about the 60,000, that would be about $30, and which can barely afford anything for a family because of course, you did say it, inflation rate and all of that. But if we go to the 100,000 that we're looking at, that may be the new proposition, that would just be a little above $60. So it may be about $66 thereabout. At $66, the only thing you can do is maybe just afford a bag of rice and perhaps pure water for your family. So the reason I'm asking this question, it is very important that we understand how the salaries, just like you mentioned, purchasing power, what the salaries of an ordinary citizen, let's say a cleaner or a driver living in the United States, can do for them, versus what the salary of a cleaner, a driver living in Nigeria can do for them, and how the political office holders in United States, how much they earn, and the all of the issues, paraphernalia that comes with their office, versus that of Nigeria, that their people may be living in a lesser condition. it's important that, so I've made my, I've just stated the situation in Nigeria. I would have loved you to again restate the situation in the United States based on how much you earn as the political office members earn, what that money can do for them, and that of the ordinary citizen who's like a cleaner or a driver. And if a driver can even live a normal life, even save to buy cars, even save to take their children to school or college with that money that they earn. Because with the new minimum wage, it's almost impossible for any Nigerian worker to be able to send their children to the university. And that may breed corruption because people would naturally look for other ways to survive.
Exactly the point I was making earlier. It's not the how much, it is the buying power. First of all, you alluded to the devaluation of continued devaluation of the naira.
Yes, please.
All right?
Yes, please.
So, if you keep that in mind, you are going to see that even this 100,000 is a bargain. It's truly a bargain. And it's unfortunate that the people who are negotiating it, none of them will be making that kind of money. So, I don't know if they have been in the shoes of those people who have constantly been at that lower end, making the minimum wage. It is therefore important that the government tries to stabilize the naira and also take action to make sure that when this 100,000 naira minimum wage becomes the law, that it will have a good buying power. If it doesn't have that, they have not done anybody any good. And the same situation will continue to happen. Yes, it will breed, and of course, this 30,000 minimum wage has bred corruption. Can you imagine a family of four? Six, two parents and four children, and only the guy is the breadwinner, and all he's being paid is 30,000. No. That family cannot survive if there's no supplemental income. And that supplemental income is the bribes they ask you even when you say good morning to them. They should be condemned, but then, depending on the situation, would you rather that man watches his family die of hunger? If you were in that man's shoe, would you take that bribe, or would you let your family die of hunger? That becomes the issue. So you can't stamp out corruption nowhere if the people in the lower cadre are not being taken good care of. In this country, the minimum wage, yes, it's not going to give you luxury, but you're not going to go hungry either. The politicians here don't make money. They don't. I just told you I still practice my engineering. I just told you I still run my home health care business because that's where I make the money, not in politics. And because of that, when I tell people I am very busy, they may not understand. Because I have to combine all of that with making sure that when the people call, I answer and I run out to take care of their business. Somebody can call over here, a constituent can call you and report a problem, and you have to jump on it. You need to solve it. because you represent them. That's why they call you when they have problems. And when we get involved, their problems get solved. If they are hitting a roadblock with a certain department, maybe calling for something and it's not happening for them, they're not returning their calls or something like that. If I pick up the phone and call that department right away, they'll jump on it and that issue must be resolved.
All right. So, if the reverse was the case, like it is in Nigeria and the United States, what do you think the citizens would do to call for accountability on the part of their politicians? If the case of were the same in Nigeria as it was in the United States, that people are not, people can't get full access of the exact amount their political office holders earn in terms of salaries and allowances. If that ever happened in the United States, what do you think the people would do?
Certain simple questions are usually very difficult for an American to answer because you don't even think of such. Our salaries are out there for anybody to see.
So accountability is compulsory.
Start Googling.
Don't worry, I've made all that research in the past.
We appropriate the money and we're done. The audit offices take care of the rest. Right? I can give millions of dollars to a department and my salary still remains where it is.
Okay, so let's even look at other executive members. For instance, the governors in Nigeria. Here we have a situation where a governor can be in charge of the state. Someone can be a governor for about 4 years. God helping him, he comes back for a second term, which makes it 8 years, but he goes home with humongous severance benefits. So he has a house in his state, a house in Abuja as his retirement benefit. He has cars, he has allowances, quite some very huge stuffs that I cannot mention right now on air because I don't have all of those figures off of my head to mention. Is that the same case with the United States in terms of severance benefit of your politicians?
No.
Why? Are you don't pay them for telling them thank you to work for working all these years?
First of all, you have to sign up for a retirement account that you are paying into when you are actively working. Okay?
Yes, please.
You pay into a retirement account, and at the end of your service, you can receive. It's nothing to write home about, but you have to have served a minimum of 8 years to qualify to keep your insurance, health insurance, at the rate it is by the time you're retired. But you'll still be paying whatever that rate is. And then you can be getting a retirement payment monthly that's about less than $200.
Oh wow!
It depends on how long you served.
That poor?
Yeah. And there's no car.
And there's no house.
There's no house.
Either in
There's
Washington
nothing.
or your state.
No, none of that.
Oh wow, interesting. All right, I'll soon enjoy. Ask Nigerians to join the conversation should they have questions or reactions to that. You want to say something?
I'm getting a warning that tells me. This
Okay,
will be
all right. I've already
ended.
sent you. I've already sent another. Kindly look through. I've already sent another, so you can rejoin if that runs out. I appreciate.
Okay.
All right. So it's just important that we put these things into perspective so that Nigerians will understand. Now, this is very important because Nigeria prides itself not just as giant of Africa, but as a country with one of the highest oil producing countries in the world, about the sixth. So it's worrisome that in spite of its population, its people are living in perhaps abject poverty. And if we run through some other countries and their income, as in their wages, it's a far cry, especially African countries. It's a far cry to what Nigerians earn. For instance, in Gabon, the minimum wage is equivalent of 376,500 naira in naira. And we're still talking about 30,000 naira. Equatorial Guinea, you have about 323,000 naira, almost 324. In Libya is 313,000 naira. In Algeria, you have 226,000 naira. Tunisia, 199,000 naira. Egypt, about 194,700. Ivory Coast, 188,250. In fact, Ghana, that is closest to us, is 38,768. But that again is dependent on the purchasing power of the cities, right?
Right.
And then you have Angola with 58,569 naira. DR Congo at 94,947 naira. And in all of these countries, apart from Algeria, that at one point overtook Nigeria in oil production, Nigeria is way larger than them in terms of natural resources. So it's very shocking and surprising to note that, or to experience that a country that has such huge amount of natural resources, deposits, and that has given that natural resources to its leaders to manage and lead them with, lives in the most deplorable and horrible condition.
That is why I have never agreed that Nigeria is a poor country. Nigeria is very rich, very, very rich. There are some countries in the Arab world where the citizens, barely work because they are taken good care of. It's foreigners that work for them. Nigeria should be in that situation. But Nigeria's money is in the pockets of a few people. And then the remainder is so mismanaged because, in my opinion, Nigeria is an orphan country. Nigeria is an orphan. An orphan has no father or mother to fight for him or her. Every group in Nigeria, none of them cares for Nigeria. All they care about is what they can get out of Nigeria. Nobody ever considers what they can put into Nigeria. And that is why the country is gradually dying. Until we reverse that mentality over here in this country, everybody wakes up thinking of how to do what is already easier. In Nigeria, I think the reverse is the case, where they are thinking about how to do what's already difficult even more difficult.
Do you think our population may just be one of the problems? Because a lot of people will say, oh, all these countries that we mentioned, apart from US, by the way, and, because US is a very old country, every other country you mentioned it doesn't equate Nigeria in terms of population. So perhaps that's why they can manage their resources better.
Isn't that a plus? That we have human capital? That is a plus. Rather than have just 10 geniuses, if you have 100 of them, wouldn't that be a plus? No. Our population is actually a blessing. It is a plus. Unfortunately, we mismanage Nigeria as a whole. We mismanage the country. Until we change this attitude, Let me tell you an example.
Okay.
Every day that I miss showing up for work in the chambers, there's a record of it.
Oh, are you serious? When you don't see it?
If I don't show up and we have sitting, there's a record of it.
And you won't be paid?
I can lose an election if my opponent goes and digs up and it shows up that I don't show up for work. I'll be voted out. So I am, like it or not, come rain, come shine, I am going in because I know that I'll be judged by that too. This country, if you employ somebody to work for you, they will be working like they own that business. Meantime, in Nigeria, see, I come to Nigeria quite often, so I know what's going on. In Nigeria, after 2 p.m. in most days, weekdays, go to the offices, see how many people are still at work. They are all gone. You see? So we need to change our work ethic. We should be able to work for Nigeria, not just for ourselves.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Let me open the phone lines. Nigerians are itching to jumping in the conversation, so let's let them in. Perhaps they'll ask the rest of questions that I probably may have missed asking. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Nigerians' phone lines are now open. Let's begin to take your thoughts and reactions on the conversation that we just raised tonight. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. The WhatsApp line is 0817 175 6338. 0817 175 6338. Hello, good evening to you. Hello? Oh dear, no, I can't lose you this way. Okay, please do well to call us back if you can hear me. Hello, good evening. Hello? Hello, good evening. Are you there?
Hello, good evening, Precious.
Yes, you're welcome. Go ahead. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening to Austin from Egbeda.
Yes, go ahead.
Please, I want to talk on one thing. One, Nigeria, are they practicing democracy or autocracy now? Because I can, with my little knowledge, during the time of Jonathan, there is a bit democracy. You can come out and speak your mind. You can come out and protest. But now, common labor that want to do strike, they say they are sabotaging the economy. I want to ask, are we in democracy and autocracy in this APC government? Two, Tinubu tell us that subsidy is gone. Why does he pay subsidy? So he will come and apologize to Nigeria for lying to Nigeria because this is lying. How can you say subsidy gone and you are paying subsidy and you see increase the fuel up, all the things go up? That's the cause of all this inflation in Nigeria. You know that you cannot do it. You know that you cannot tackle it. Why can't you leave it and still paying your subsidy? Fuel will still be 185. People will not be suffering like this. So the APC should come and apologize to Nigeria. If not, God will not forgive them. Thank you.
All right, so it's enough. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for calling. Please do also call us and ensure that you mind the language when you call. Hello, good evening to you.
Hello?
Please help me turn up the volume of your radio set. Please.
Hello. Good evening, Sister Precious.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is OKEYE.
Okay, again, you're welcome.
So it has been a long time that I've been trying to speak to you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You know, in this manner, the truth of the matter is that in Nigeria, I'm sorry to use this language, that God will not make us to be a failure. You know, we have been voting for years ago. The time of Jonathan, they said Jonathan cannot do this, Jonathan cannot do it. And this time, we fought for APC, and everything, we believe everything will go on. Do you understand? Right now, as I'm talking to you now, see the inflation of life. See the way the life fuel everything. That very man that is speaking to you there, the man is saying the truth. Nigeria cannot come back the way we are again. And before everything can be okay, unless Nigeria come back to the way we supposed to be. Things are going wrong in Nigeria badly. People cannot buy. If you buy quota biscuit is not 3 for 200 naira. When a small boy is going to school, you cannot afford 15 naira biscuit for that person to go to school. Sister Precious.
Ma?
Things are going wrong.
We understand.
And people are dying every day. Our government did not see anything to do about it. People are hungry badly, and our government just keep quiet and nothing they can do about it. For Christ's sake.
Thank you.
What are we going to say? What is the meaning of this?
Apologies.
Minimum salary is 8,000, and that is 80,000 naira now, as of now. So no, people, when you collect salary now, just use your leg to go to school. Now, in my own house now, this month, last month May, we used 58,000 naira life. 58,000 naira life. And let me tell you the way we are using it. We put the light around 12 o'clock in the night and remove it before 7 o'clock in the morning.
The minister said that people don't know how to manage lights now. That other places that they don't turn on fridge and leave it in other countries.
We didn't manage it like that. At least we spend up to 90,000 in a month to buy lights.
I'm sorry about that. Thank you so much for calling.
God bless you.
Thank you very much. So you see, that's actually why I brought up somebody who is in another country to come talk to us. Let's even know how they do their own thing there, so that we'll be sure that something is all wrong with us. Let's be sure that what we're doing is the right thing in the first place. But I appreciate you for calling. Thank you so much. All right, Lagos phone lines are still open. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Hello, good evening to you. Hello. Hello. Hello, good evening. Are you there? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to your guests.
Good evening. Thank you.
Yeah, the young man has said a lot and has exposed Nigeria a lot of a lot of things in Nigeria. He told you that in the US, any day he does not sit could cost him his position.
Absolutely, he said that.
Over here in Germany, we work according to how you are paid, according to hours you put on in a week or in a month. You don't get paid if you just come and go. Over here, like for example, where I work or everywhere, whether you are private work, or public worker or private worker, you go immediately. You come to your office. You put on your card. It will read when you enter your company or your office, and when you are going, you put it back. You clock it back, and it will tell you when you left the office.
So it clocks you
because
in and
you
out.
are paid hourly. Hourly. This minimum wage, are they calculating it on hour basis or what? Because you cannot tell somebody you are paying somebody 30,000, 60,000 naira in a month. How did they come to that amount? Because you're supposed to be talking about hourly paid. In America, I think minimum wage is $15 per hour.
I think it varies from state to state.
Yeah, in the states, yeah, because my children live in Nevada. They work there. It's about 15 dollar an hour.
He's right.
So here in Germany, it's a little bit slight, 16 euros or something like that. That's how you are paid. You don't pay because somebody will go to work, stay there maybe for 2 hours and go, and then at the end of the month you pay him or her. And some like those people working in banks in Nigeria, some of them spend 12 hours in a day working in a bank. At the end of the day, they will still pay them the same price. So the issue is that if you want to talk about minimum wage, put it on hours. How many hours somebody does every day? That is how Nigerians are going to get a better payment. But talking about 30, 70, 100 naira in a month is not going to do anything for anybody, and that is not even civilization. Countries have gone beyond paying that kind of method of payment. It is everywhere in Japan, in Australia, everywhere is hourly paid. You are paid how many hours you put on every week, every month.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So, this conversation is very important because we need to be sure that the president promised that he would give workers living wage when he removed minimum wage, right? And when he increased fuel subsidy. Sir, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, if I may chime in here.
Please do. Go ahead, please.
The gentleman is very correct. The minimum wages vary from state to state here.
Yes.
And the beauty of it is that cost of living is not the same across the country. Even in Nigeria, cost of living is much higher in Lagos than in some other states. And once you pass this minimum wage, you're still going to pay that person in Lagos the same 100,000 that you pay somebody who is in one of the villages somewhere in Nigeria, right? And that's not correct. Like I told you, official minimum wage in this state is about $7.25. In Nevada, it's about $15 to $16 per hour because the cost of living is higher. The cost of living is also higher in New York, and their minimum wage is higher. Though nobody gets paid that minimum wage here, you make about $10 an hour. But it encourages people to work more hours when they need extra money. And once you have put in your 8 hours a day, the extra hours are called overtime. And you are paid whatever the minimum wage is plus half of it every hour.
All right. So it's a bit of a concern in this part of the world now. How do we even... I remember when Nigerian Labour Congress proposed 650,000 naira, for instance, and the argument was that, XYZ, they broke it down. They said, inside this 650,000, this is the amount that a family of 2 or 3 or 4 should feed with in a month from the 650. This is the amount that they would pay for their light bill with based on the new light rate. This is the amount that they will pay house rent with monthly. This is the amount that they will pay transportation with. This is the amount that they would feed with. This is the amount that they're going to pay school fees to their children with. So, you could get all of those figures and they summed it up to the 650,000 naira. But then with the proposition that government is putting out to workers or whatever it was, even the 60,000 naira, we can't tell quite how government came to that conclusion as to how they broke it down to. Okay, out of the 60,000 naira that they proposed, for instance, how much will a standard family feed with the 50,000 in a month? How much will you pay transport with? And how much will you pay an electricity tariff that is increased by 330% with? Because you can't demand more tax from people by increasing some rates and pay them less. How would they get the money to pay more if you're not deliberately impoverishing them? But my phone lines are buzzing. Let's quickly attend to more callers and then let's see. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. This is Jonathan from London.
Jonathan, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, a good guest.
He can hear you. Our guest can hear you. Go ahead. Oh dear, Jonathan, apologies. I lost you. I hate to lose calls, this way. Please do well to call back if you can hear me. Let's quickly attend to your call. Hello, good evening to you. Hello? Hello?
Hi, Precious.
Yes, please. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, this is Remy.
Remy, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Greetings to your guest.
Thank you. Our guest can hear you.
I quite agree with his assertion. We are not practicing democracy in this country. It is anocracy. I don't know if you saw the video of Wiki asking PAMSEC to bow before.
Yes, so to bow. I didn't want to mention that. I had it as Mr. Mintag initially. Go ahead.
How best can one describe dehumanization?
No, it's to show that he's loyal, that they should respect Oga President more than him.
Do you know what it takes to be a PAMSEC? The years you must have spent. Most of them had been in that service before Tinubu became a governor in 1999. It will take you at least not less than 35 years, series of exams and the likes. And someone from River State had the guts to tell people to bow their heads before Jesus Christ. And they too gladly were bowing. Good. That's by the way. Now we are being told a certain trillion of naira is being spent on subsidy. Abi is to be spent on subsidy.
No, that 5.4 trillion naira is earmarked for subsidy this year.
Earmarked for subsidy.
Do you know that actually last year we spent 3.6 trillion naira for subsidy?
Okay. Why did
meanwhile in 2022 we spent only 2 trillion naira. So as it is, we're actually spending more on subsidy. Just like Erofai stated. Yes. And then we're not paying more. We're paying over 300% thereabouts more for fuel.
So
what am I saying? 300%? It's more than 400 or 500% now. If you go from 185,
the math isn't adding up. We are paying 3 times the amount Tinubu made this for, and we are paying more for subsidy again. The math is not adding up. Precious.
That is
I don't know I don't know the color of their problem. Why did you destroy the economy for the past 1 year when you knew you are coming back to reintroduce the subsidy? Look at what they've done to the economy. They destroyed the economy for a period of 1 year. Then through the back door brought back the same subsidy they claimed they've removed. They was the economy destroyed, as in they watched it. They're not telling us they're bringing back subsidy. 5 trillion naira, more than the initial amount we were paying. If this guy had thought this true, he shouldn't have removed subsidy in the first place, and the economy would have remained at least fairer than what we have now. But he moved the subsidy and it was boasting that, and his Alula boys were telling us that he was the only one who had the guts to do that.
And interestingly, you know that just last week, the Minister for State for Petroleum, Heineken Lokobri, has said categorical, in fact, let me look for that his quote, because he even said we should quote him anywhere, that there is no subsidy anymore, that it has been removed. He said it.
How can we undo all this mess these people brought upon this country in the last 1 year or in the last 9 years?
In fact, let me quote that. Heineken said oil as at recent. Okay, he said, I can confirm to you that subsidy is gone. Officially, there is no subsidy. I want to make it clear that there is no subsidy in the country today. Heineken Lukobiri, Minister for State, Petroleum.
You can see the insincerity of purpose.
Sir, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Remy. Thank you. Sir, you said something. Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Mr. Gabe.
It's not the amount of the subsidy. It is what it's going to be used for. If that money goes to subsidize anything in Nigeria, it will help the masses. But the problem is, at the end, it's going to end up in other people's pockets. That's what that money is going to. It will be subsidizing other people's pockets, not the Nigerian masses. You see, probably when the subsidy was removed, the people who benefited from it revolted quietly with the leadership of the country. And that's why it's coming back. Period.
But the government just told us last week that he never came back in front of the world.
Yeah, but then how did you now get the 5.4 trillion?
Well, another minister just said it. Now, the Minister for Finance said, well, this is the amount that what is going to be costing us for this year.
That minister is the government. That's part of the government. So the government lied.
So that means one government official lied, the other government official said the truth. But they've been silent about it for a long time.
Yeah, because it would be embarrassing for them to admit that they are wrong. That's all. It's an ego thing.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, going back to my phone lines now. Hello, good evening to you. Hello? Hello, are you there? Good evening.
Hello?
Good evening. Are you there?
Hello, Jonathan calling back.
Jonathan, very quickly. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'm very happy that since your program has started, I've been following it, and you have never mentioned allegedly.
No. I quoted them.
You are quoting verbatim.
I am quoting them verbatim.
And you are standing by your word.
Standing by their word. The one that I will allege, I'll tell you. This one, I'm standing by their word because I quoted them. They said it.
So a government that doesn't like statistics, how can you plan? A government that doesn't like data, how can you plan? It's not possible. Look at the way your guest is breaking down the business of the legislature, its own personal business. How can you cut corners? It's not possible. We have never started at all. At all. Imagine the conflict report in the same one cabinet. Is it not enough to discredit, to bring the government down? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hello, good evening. Hello. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me clearly?
Well, I can. Go ahead. I don't know how clear it is. It's a bit muffled up, but just go ahead. Let's see.
Okay, good evening. This is Kayode calling from mainland.
Kayode, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, I greet your guest.
My guest greets you too.
So, are you hearing me, please?
Crystal clear. Go ahead.
Hello?
Oh, I can hear you.
Okay. Concerning my own issue, concerning what is going on presently, precious, Nigerians are not smiling with the look of things. I'm not smiling. This politician has brought Nigerians into abject poverty. They spoiled our naira. We didn't complain. They brought subsidy. Now they are lying to us, saying that subsidy is gone. This is it, bringing it back again. They think we are stupid. This is absolute nonsense. It's wrong. Oh, just unfortunate that we are expressing this kind of thing.
Sorry.
So, well, I wish the Labour good luck. Cannot fight for Nigerian refinery and make the refinery work instead of doing all this meeting with this government. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
You too. Have a nice night. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, Lagos phone lines are still open. 0700 903 903 903. Let's see. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Precious.
Good evening, sir. Welcome. What's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
I'm Sonny by name.
Sonny, where are you calling from?
I want to say something, Madam Precious.
Sonny, may I know where you're calling from?
See, Nigeria has become...
Sonny, can you hear me? Where are you calling from?
75% of the population. You know, your money, the money you have in your hand cannot afford you anything. So for me, I'm wondering, one thing I want to ask, those who were marching at Ojota and criticizing Jonathan in 2014, 2015, are they now dead or are they still alive? And these things are happening, and things have become worse than we have ever imagined. So indeed, if they are still alive, they should remain silent forever. They should never speak. Not when anybody or somebody from another tribe comes to power, they will now find their voice. You see, those gutter medias, let me say that way, because there is some brown envelope medias that we are carrying out campaign of calumny against Jonathan government. They have all become deaf and dumb. They are no more writing. Their hands are now swollen up that they cannot write anymore. We are all watching them. We are observing. those so-called cash activists or activists of those days during Jonathan bring back power, bring back our girl and all those propaganda that they cooked up against Jonathan just to bring him down. Now, those who were calling Jonathan incompetency, they are now in power, and we have seen how competent they are. They are now extorting the poor masses to live large, as they have been doing before they get where they are. We all know what is happening, but thank God that it's happening from two different regions. So when another region get to power someday, if Nigeria remain one, and if it's still the way it is today, as organized as it is today, let them also remain silent, because I'm sure if someone from another tribe or another region come to power, they will have their voice. They will say all kind of things. They may even be vandalizing property and words of people.
All right, I appreciate you.
Know what is happening. So
Thank you.
It is, let them remain in their graveyard as they have maintained the silence of graveyard.
Thank you.
They should remain in their graveyard forever.
Thank you. That's your opinion. I appreciate you. Hello. Good evening to you. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Welcome, sir. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Hello, good evening,
sir. Good evening, Prince Akwachi, right?
And good afternoon to the Congress from Atlanta. That's what we call them. We call them the congressman, congresswoman. He has said it all. Whatever he said is the truth. Sometimes when we call and we tell you guys things, you guys think that we're lying. But look at the congressman has said. Everything here is transparent. You can access your congressman, and it's even recommended for you to even get to know them, and they know you. And they sit in their office and they attend plenaries. Like every other person. They don't have policemen or what do you call it? Just people guarding them or whatever it is. They move just like every other person. You can even see them in grocery stores. You can see them in trains, sometimes in buses, depending on wherever you are. As for what do you call it, minimum wage gets about 22, depending on what office you are working in. Some and in healthcare is from 25-30 upwards. Just what it is. But at the end of the day, it's by hour. It's not by this monthly thing that people, that they talk about in Nigeria. And you get paid bi-weekly. You get your money, bi-weekly and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, I just want to say kudos to the congressman and thank him for really coming up to tell you guys how it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. Okay. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Precious. How are you?
Sir, I'm fine. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Ola from Chicago. You're welcome. Go ahead, sir.
And I greet your guest too. I don't know if you got.
Hear his question.
I always surprised when we said we copy American system. Why are we not copy everything what they are doing? I said it maybe last year. I'm starting to be corrected. Before Obama was become a president of America, he was sharing apartment with another senator. If I'm wrong, I want your best to correct me.
He confirmed it.
Thank you.
He confirmed that Obama was sharing apartment with someone, was staying in a shared apartment.
You see, and we copy from America. I don't know why we cannot do like America. A senator will be collecting huge amount more than an American president, and they are not doing anything. When are we going to continue this? Precious.
Sir?
Honestly, I'm so tired.
Sorry.
I'm so here we have other men. They have offices. All their constituencies.
Okay, so Mr. Ola, he likes to hear you. Maybe you just call me back. He can't hear you. I wish he can because I really would love him to call you back. So he can hear you. Let's see if we can have you rejoin the conversation so he can hear you. Mr. Gabe, he mentioned quite a couple of things. Yes, please. Okay, let's see. I think he rejoined us. Hello, Mr. Ola. Yes, can you hear him now, Mr. Gabe? Yes. Go ahead.
Yes.
Mr. Okoye, go ahead. So, Mr. Ola, he said a couple of things. He mentioned that before Obama became president, Obama was staying in a shared apartment, and you confirmed that while you were speaking with me.
Yes. When Obama was elected, I was in Chicago. Can you hear me, Precious?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay. He was in Chicago here. People taking him to Chicago downtown. He carried his bag by himself. Obama carried his bag by himself. People are looking at him like, look at the president-elect. If Obama made me where I wanted to buy anything, maybe I'm online on queue. If Obama meet me there, he got to queue behind me. He will not go in front of me. There was a time I met Obama at the bookshop. People cited him that, oh, this is our former president. Oh, come here, come to the front. He refused. He said, look, let me take my turn. Why we say we copy American system? Let's go back to our system. So we know that we are in another military regime. In where I live here, we cherish our senators, rep, councillor, mayor. That's our intimate representative. Whatever we need, we go to their office. But in Nigeria, they don't have office for people. You can't access them. Immediately they was elected to the office, nobody will see them again. God bless VOP. Thank you, Precious, that you are bringing people who will enlighten people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And speaking of representation,
okay.
Every quarter, I hold what we call town hall meeting in my constituency. That is a chance for people to come, get information they need, and also let me hear what issues are pressing for them, so I would know how to help them out. And I bring experts. I don't know it all. I bring experts who will give detailed information. And if I get questions that I don't have the answers right there and then, I will take the person's contact information and get back after I have gotten the answer. You serve the people. I was talking with a friend of mine one day. I was leaving my office. I was on the road. And he says, what are you doing? I said, I'm driving home. And he goes, I don't hear any siren. I laughed. And he said, did you say you were driving home? I said, yes.
You're not chauffeured? You're not being driven?
That's the thing. So here we don't do all of that. We don't do any of that. I go to the grocery stores, period, by myself, pick up what I need, pay, and go home. It's actually important that you mix up with the people in your districts so that you get to know them and they get to know you.
All right, so let me quickly run through some reactions from Nigerians on WhatsApp, because I have quite a couple of WhatsApp here. Somebody said federal government of robberies. No, I didn't say that. Precious, please, I would like to have Dr. Paul's contact. Please just send me a message on my Instagram. Yeah, Instagram, Precious in your official. I'll forward his details to you. Precious in your official, please. I can't do that now because I'm trying to access your messages as fast as I can. Precious, please, I can't stop crying. How can we get out of this? What is the situation? Can we get out? What is the solution? How can we get out of this? God, these people are killing us. That's why they can do and undo to get there. Good evening, Precious. Mrs. Seriki Ileko, it is well. She's the one that sent in the message. His Royal Highness BC Wilko says, the Nigerian issue is always upside down, unlike how things are being done in other countries. It's unfortunate and sad that we have leaders that are only that think of only themselves and do not care about the good of ordinary citizens. May God help us. Taiwo says, good evening, Precious, and your guests. Please ask your guests if they pay them constituency allowance. Do you also do constituency projects? Apologies.
And those are my answers to the question.
Okay, that's your laughter. The laughter is your answer. Taiwo from Otta, I hope he answers your questions. All right. I was going to come to consistency project. I think Taiwo just took it out of my mouth. Harry Ogada from Palm Grove says, if APC actually came to power through ballots, they would not keep suffering the masses whom they expect to vote for them or for their second term. Let me tell Nigerians the truth. APC believe they didn't come to power through your overwhelming support, but they would have pity for their own supporter. I don't understand that. Well, good evening, Precious. Mr. Reno is in America and he knows about all of these things Mr. OKEYE is telling us, and he also talks all the things he says about P2B on Twitter because he needs money from Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Anna Paul from Coca sent in that message. Wow, Precious, thank you for bringing this eloquent, soft-spoken man who is, no, you didn't see the part that he smiles all through. So all through his conversation he's been all smiles. I think you should go to YouTube and see him. Go and experience his smile. Okay, you said he's a soft-spoken man who is down to earth with his explanations. This is what an honorable member should be. We are proud to have him as a Nigerian in the US Congress. Do you see why we keep saying that Nigerian politicians are only copycats when it concerns things in their favor? With this color of practice in the US, why do we erroneously allude that we borrowed a kind of democracy from the US? Is this the type that the US is practicing now? We are always first from the rear. Thank you exceedingly, Honorable OKEYE. May God save our country. Tony Aneli from Ijagamo sent in that message. And Ekene says, hi, Precious, sir. Please stop. The difference living in US and Nigeria is like capital B and the cow leg. If you live in US for a month and come back home Nigeria, you would be wondering what has happened to us. That's why it's so painful that our leaders visit here, see how things are here, or how things work here, and they go home and rubbish things too. God have mercy on us. Have a good day, Precious. Thank you so much again. I appreciate you to have a good day. Good evening, Precious, and the guest in the house, in the phone. Kudos to you for bringing this educative enlightenment. Akajaja from Okota sent in that message. Akajaja. Good evening, wonderful people. This Lillian from Isolo. What pissed me off is the whole Buhari. It's just that in the whole Buhari is that they keep saying that this is the way forward. This is the way forward, but nothing is being done. It's really upsetting, I must say. They keep telling you that this is the only way forward to remove subsidy, and then you can't see anything done. Amobi from 7 and 8 says, if every senator, governor, minister's dream to own a house in Abuja, that means time shall come when common man can not be able to buy a house in Abuja, and all the lands in Abuja will be occupied without any other space for them, for the upcoming leaders to build their own houses. Maybe that's why we'll have to recycle leaders. Senator from Isolo says, it's now clear that this government just came to perhaps punish Nigerians. He increased fuel, and that has caused severe pain on the people, and still paying subsidy. Ridiculous. What have we done to deserve this ill treatment from this government? That's the question you asked. Calvin says, from Sulere, says, please advise the caller from Germany. Is improper to refer to the guest as a young man. He's not a young man. Please. Now I'm taking. Okay. He said, now I'm taking aback from the revelation your guest has revealed. I watched the former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, saying his becoming governor was to give back to America what they have given to him, because he made more money in movies than being a governor. But he decided to go into politics to serve and give back to America. It's clear over there that politics is about service, but here is perhaps to enrich yourselves. And that's why they do anything to get to power. Why we in Nigeria? Why we're in trouble? Who will bail us? Who will bail the cat? We don't know. Good evening, Precious. Please, who says we are practicing democracy in this country? Help me tell these people that as a leader or ruler, if one kills his or her subjects or followers with hunger, they will definitely find no one again to rule or lead. Passy from Ijego sent in that message. And your guest is so echoing that we know. Is so echoing what we know already. What most have been saying right from time that you dispute. You should also ask what his take is on the media, especially how some journalists help the government to push the agenda in silence, or to push the agenda by silencing the people in the name of doing their job, which indeed is gagging. As he said, Nigeria may have copied democracy from America, but applied it in differently. We cannot tell or call what is practiced in Nigeria democracy. Current indices point to the various system of government. Kakistocracy, you mentioned a lot. Mr. Okoye, you saw that jab that was thrown at me directly, right? Did you hear that? Okay, that was for me particularly, because I don't let them insult government. In Nigeria, you cannot use your medium by the rules that guide our job. You cannot let your medium to be used to insult or incite a group of people against anyone. Your license will be revoked.
It doesn't help. But what helps though is that the media should be unbiased.
We are unbiased, but they don't like it because I don't let them insult the president and other people and say, "Oh, this person is stupid, he's killing us," and they say that I'm taking sides.
It's important to note that it is really not the person holding the office that we respect. It is the seat. The seat of the president is what we respect. The person holding the office today may leave tomorrow, and you can see that person and kick him however you want. But that seat must be respected, because it could be you tomorrow sitting on it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So the respect is for the seat and not the person. Precious, well done. If Nigeria is a graph, how will you join the dots? Namidi has that question, Abi. All right, nice work with that you're doing, Precious, by bringing this man this evening into the station. We have learned a lot from this, from his wealth of experience. Thank you. Apostle Pari from Egbeda, from Ego, Lagos, sent in that message. Thank you. John from Ikwaja says, wonderful evening to your guest in the house, and Precious. Please, I beg you, kindly read the message. If you didn't, I'll put a call to say it. I have said it several times. Our government did not copy democracy from the United States. What they copied was democracy. Your guest has proved me right today. Secondly, we don't have leaders in this country. What we have is people parading themselves as leaders. I challenge them to publish what they are earning to prove me wrong. He actually called them looters and says he challenges them to publish what they're earning to prove him wrong. Okay. Uchenna from, that's totally your opinion. Uchenna from Afikbo North, Ebonyi State says, good evening, Precious. Please, do you have knowledge of the content of the assignment President gave to Minister of Finance? And what your guest is saying is the gospel truth, that there is a question you asked him about when you don't go for a sitting as a legislature, if you are paid for the sitting you didn't attend, because here in Nigeria you get paid whether or not you sit. In fact, even if you're snoring in the house, you get paid. Nigeria belongs to everyone, not some people. No one's name was written on the oil Nigeria has. I pray my people will not perish for the lack of knowledge. And then he says, sir,
can I answer that question?
Go ahead.
I missed it.
Go ahead, please.
When we come in every morning, we do a roll call vote. If you are not there to vote, that means you're absent. You don't get paid.
Oh, wow. Even if maybe you're having running stomach and he came in late.
You must call and let the clerk know what's happening with you. You can come in late, then you're going to do a sign-in, not a roll call vote. You will get paid if you come in late with excuse acceptable to the speaker. That's how it is.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So this message says, do you know that the government were surprised by the way the people never wanted their money in the 2023 election? Even some people had to sponsor and feed others who came out to vote. And now they want to use poverty as a weapon to control the people come 2027. And please let the legislature make know their salaries. That's what he's saying. He says the sincerity in Americans' democracy makes the country prosper in all ramification. Or Daba sent in that message. And here says, please, Madam Precious, those African countries you read their minimum wage, also check how much a bag of rice costs there as well. Please, what's happening in this country, Nigeria? Government said subsidy is gone, but on Google, government said they spent 3.6 trillion in 2023 and now 5.4 trillion in 2024. I just said that to you already. What does this mean? Okay, it says, please help me ask government. I hope they respond to you because they can hear me. Good evening, Prepare. Thanks for bringing such a lovely guest to our station. At least it's damaging our ignorance. Did you say damaging your ignorance? Can you ask if the government at the central in the US do share monies to all arms of government in America like ours? If it's not so, we are not practicing democracy at all now. Tony sent in that. So do you guys have federal allocation?
No.
That's what he said. I should ask. Each state totally independent.
Is independent. Now, the federal government can give you money if you are in partnership with them for a project. You understand?
Yes, please.
So, but as far as your budget and your allocation, I mean, each state is responsible for their own budgeting. Period. But if you have, if the federal government wants something done in your state, first they're going to get permission, and secondly, they come in with money. And okay, we're going to do this, and because it's for the benefit of your state, you may come in with a quarter of the budget for whatever that project is, and the federal government will come up with the rest. You see? So they can give money, but it's project specific. They don't just give money to subsidize your budget. No.
Okay. All right. Great. And then this message here says, good evening, Precious. Well, Precious, we've been telling you that these people had been lying all this while, but you always told us we don't have evidence. And have you seen your evidence now? I swear, God can never forgive these people because they've dragged Nigerians into abject poverty. All I know is that anyone or everyone is going to die one day. And okay, you said a lot. I perhaps may not be able to read all of this. Austin from Egbeda says, this government doesn't take suggestions and corrections. They are jack of all trades and master of none. Ew. All right. Let's see if we can go back to that call. Hello, good evening.
Hi, Precious.
Oh dear. Apologies. Okay. All right, a few messages here again. This here says, okay, good evening, Precious, and my honorable guests, Ike from Isola. Let's keep religion aside and talk reality. And the reality is that Nigerian leaders are never elected to represent the people. They smuggle themselves into power to enrich their own future and their future generation. Well, let's go back to this call. Hello, good evening. Good evening, are you there?
Hello, Precious.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. This is Joval.
Joval, you're welcome. Go ahead. Let's hear you, Joval.
Yeah, good evening to our guest. I can't figure out his name right now. Respectfully, sir. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Mr. GABE OKEYE.
Mr. OKEYE, yes. Good evening to you, please.
Thank you.
Precious,
sir?
I've been listening to him. At a stage, I was caught in a very terrible traffic. I lost track and I came back and listened to him again. You could see that when he was talking about him driving himself home, going to grocery to buy things that he needs by himself, we could see that a leader is not supposed to be far away from the people that he is leading. Obviously, that is the reason why he will hold the meetings that he has mentioned, listen to each person, listen to the problems that each person is having, and still he said he gives his number, contacts, and speaks with others.
Oh dear, apologies. So let me read a few messages from YouTube because I have quite a number of them. Where do I even start from? Perhaps a few more from WhatsApp, then I go back to YouTube. This message just says, I wish every Nigerian would listen to today's Evening Rush. That is this show. It will change our reasoning during elections. Akajaja from Okata sent in that message. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And this says, when is your guest coming to Nigeria? We need his expertise. Guest, are you coming to Nigeria anytime soon?
I come to Nigeria often.
Okay, all right. And then let's see if I can retake some messages from YouTube. Discussist channel says, subsidies are on subsidies. If you are told the truth and you are doubting, then you'll be living lies. You must accept one of them. Simple, either the truth or the lie. God, please help us. How do you get government who wants to serve, not siphon the commonwealth of the people? Oluwato Singh Salami sent in that message. And Oladewale says, service and looting does not rhyme, Abi. Uchi Jude Akachiku says, Precious, I know you may not want to read this, but I won't read that. Okafor Sunday says, good evening, Precious. I'm just listening and watching. Nigeria democracy system is the opposite of other countries. That's what he says. So let me have you, sum up your thought very quickly as we're rounding up in less than a minute.
And that's for me, right?
Yes, that's for you. Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, I am a living example of the difference between American democracy and Nigeria. In Nigeria, I would not be in this position I'm in. I came to this country, America, a young man. I was one time a security guard going to school. That was how I paid my school fees, And to today, I was once elected as a party chairman. I'm a Democrat. I was elected the Democratic Party chairman in my county of about 1 million people. And that was the first time an African was ever elected like that. Everybody called me from Nigeria and other parts of the world, and they went, Chief, how did you do it with your accent?
I'm actually wondering why I can hear what you say very clearly. Your accent didn't change. What did you do?
I didn't want to change. I wanted to be who I am.
So people actually change at their own volition.
Yeah, but that's their problem.
Oh, wow.
So and what I told people who were asking me how I got elected party chairman with my accent, I told them that if you do not talk and sound like me, you have an accent, not me. Because the reality is, if you bring somebody from neighboring Alabama to Georgia, they will speak with an accent. If you bring somebody from New York to here, they will speak with an accent. If you bring somebody from California to here, they will speak with an accent. So why do you think I have an accent when everybody speaks one way or the other? And I said this so that my fellow Nigerians who are listening in the U.S. would know, don't let your accent stop you. Don't go changing your accent, because the American will not accept you any better. They respect you when you are authentic and real. I did not change my accent. I'm sure it may have been changed one way or the other, but non-intentional. So I want those of us here to start getting into politics. Maybe someday together we'll be able to help Nigeria get to where she needs to be.
Thank you.
That's my thought.
Thank you. Thank you so much for obliging me. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. I do hope that you would also give me this honor next time I call you.
Well, don't forget I'm a Nigerian. For how much, please?
I need it. I no go pay you. Which pay waiting? I no go pay. Now for free. Your selfless service to humanity.
Yes, I'm a Nigerian. You have to pay. That's how it is.
I appreciate you, Mr. Gabe. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much.
Just call anytime. Let me know.
Absolutely. Of course, I would disturb you. You can't scare me with the payments. When you have a precious at home like me, no. I'm not. You should know where that dog get. We're that stubborn. When we don't give up. I appreciate you. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, Mr. Okoye. Thank you. All right, Lagos. Thank you. Bye. All right, Lagos, that's the size of our package this evening. My name is Precious Inye. Thank you so much. So I thought to enlighten us a little bit so we get to understand how things are done, in other climes. So when people speak, we can understand, and then we can request from the point, from the point of knowledge from our government. So when we're making demands, we can demand constructively because we do know, or from an informed position, we can demand from an informed position from our government. I appreciate you all for being part of the show. My name is Precious Inye. Oh, by the way, I did drop my thought on what's going on with the subsidy issue, the recall of subsidy. I did drop that thought, and I also did drop my thought on what again now. Oh, by the way, a bill seeking to stop open grazing has killed second reading. In the National Assembly. So I also did drop my thought on that on YouTube. My personal social media handle, by the way, Precious Enyi TV on YouTube. Precious ENYI TV. Enyi, it means friend, and I'd love to be your friend to the end. You can catch me across other social media platforms on Instagram at Precious Enyi Official, Twitter Precious_Enyi. As I said before, YouTube is Precious Enyi TV. I'll see you again tomorrow, God willing. Tomorrow is Thursday, says with Mr. Barrister Darlington. Have yourself an amazing evening. Remember to protect your mental health. I love you. Good night.